We'll get started in about a minute, everyone. Thank you for being here. Feel free to grab some water, some healthy snacks, lunch, whatever you need to do to settle in. Or for some of you, you might be moving, walking, stretching. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get us started so we have enough time for everything. Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. I'm Julie Chabdi, the Associate Director of the Health and Wellbeing Program with the WorkWell Center and your host for today. Welcome to the Navigating Challenging Times webinar series sponsored by the WorkWell Center, part of the Office of Behavioral Health and Health Affairs. Navigating Challenging Times series supports our faculty and staff through these periods of uncertainty with greater confidence, providing you practical strategies, insights for managing stress and resiliency, as well as ways to prioritize your self-care, develop healthy coping strategies, and create sustainable routines. We're glad you all have decided to join us to reflect, reconnect, and restore. The webinar series kicks off today and will be held the third Wednesday of each month at 12 p.m. through December. We hope you can join us for the rest of the series and encourage others to join as well. Today's topic is on navigating change and transition with self-care. Before we begin, just a reminder, feel free to send comments or questions through the chat, and we will address a few at the end depending on time. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenters for today. I will go through all four of them. The first one is Dr. Steve Siegel, Chair and Professor of the Department of Psychiatry and the Behavioral Sciences with Keck School of Medicine, also Professor of Biomedical Engineering with Viterbi School of Engineering, Chief Mental Health and Wellness Officer with Keck Medicine of USC, and Vice President USC. We also have Dr. Laura Hilton, Director of the WorkWell Center, and Dr. Cindy Ryan, Associate Director of Clinical Services, WorkWell Center. As always, I always like to remind our participants to feel free to move, stretch, stand, whatever you like to do during today's session. And with that, it is my pleasure to turn it over to Dr. Steve Siegel to kick us off with opening remarks.
Thank you, Julie. It's really a pleasure to welcome everyone to this first inaugural seminar as part of our Navigating Challenging Times series. The new Office of Behavioral Health is here to support you through good times and bad, to be a resource for you all to help with your preemptive, reactive, and ongoing mental health and wellness. We see ourselves as a vital part of USC's community and our way to serve you. And so as we kick this off, I'd like to just remind everyone that we are here. Our purpose is to support you whatever and whenever you need. So please reach out and let us know how we can help you. And we'll start that today with this wonderful program that Julie, Cindy, and Laura have put together. So with that, back to you, Julie.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Siegel. And let's hear from you, Dr. Laura Hilton.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Steve. And hi to everyone. We're so glad you're here with us today. Dr. Laura Hilton, USC WorkWell Center Director. Now, first, I want to acknowledge that while change and transition are a part of our everyday lives, listen, they're not always easy. I think we're all experiencing a little bit of that right now, whether we're navigating the current organizational shifts, personal challenges, or uncertainty in the world around us. These experiences can affect both our professional and personal well-being. So today's session with our stellar team, Julie Chabdi and Cindy Ryan, is about giving ourselves the time and space to learn, to reflect, and to share. So together, we'll look at healthy approaches to coping with change, some strategies for maintaining balance, and ways to build resilience. you'll have the chance to reflect on what well-being means to you and how you can live out your values within your own department and within your own teams. So our hope is that you leave today not just with practical self-care strategies, but also with a reminder you are not alone. USC is committed to fostering a culture of care, and Workwell Center, our team, is your partner in supporting your well-being. So let's take a step back, take a breath, and connect with one another as we explore how to navigate the season of change. And I'll turn it back over to Julie at this point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura and Dr. Steve, for those opening remarks. We will now get to the presentation, and Dr. Cindy Ryan will kick us off.
Thank you, Julie, so much. Such an honor to be here. I think you framed so beautifully in the introduction that this is a time when we are receiving changes. Changes are happening to us. And with that, where do we take and begin to process and begin to sort out what this will mean for individuals, teams, departments, and schools? This is our approach, is to remain open to learning, reflecting, and sharing, because an external change, a change that comes from outside us, prompts and begins the internal change. That internally we are going to be adapting, we are going to be adjusting, we are going to be finding ways to navigate through. So let's begin with that, because this will balance. Some things will be out of our control, but what we can integrate and bring within our control is how we're learning and understanding how the changes are impacting ourselves and what we can do to build strength together. So as we go forward, what do we need? We need to understand that our experience is a change. That loss is what happens when we're experiencing a change. It's important to recognize, acknowledge, and reflect on what that may mean for you. So with that, let's go forward. We know that these are the changes that we might experience. What we've begun to think about is how we begin to establish and adapt and process the normal appropriate emotions for change. We know that we're going to have multiple thoughts, and many times, even in our support groups, they're reflecting that they can have different feelings right at the same time for how they're feeling the impact of what this change may be. When we researched this a little bit more, we came across a reference called transitions. William Bridges has talked about it, and he has 3 stages very similar to these stages. But the first one is endings. When we're connecting with what it means to experience a loss, we're reconciling something has ended, it's changed, it's going to be different than before. We're going to be accepting that we're going to move into something new. And with that, how do we handle it? Well, acknowledge. Communication is the key. Acknowledging the validity of the feelings. What do we need to stop and pause and listen? Listen to others and what they're experiencing and validating and understanding that. He talks about going into a second stage, which is a neutral zone, where we're sort of balancing the not knowing yet where things are going to be. What information do we need? How are we going to ground ourselves? This is where we reach out, and support is so essential. How we set our goals together, how we establish ways of being there for one another when there's changes in work or changes in our staffing. This is when we take that not knowing yet, and we can begin to create clarity. We can begin to create a sense of knowing what we can do in these situations. And ultimately, we're going to create new beginnings. We're going to go from endings to a neutral place to a new beginning. And that's where we really can be opening up to ideas. Oftentimes, We don't know yet what we may do, but we can be open to listening and sharing ideas and share thoughts. What would help you? It's a way to acknowledge that we have within us everything that we'll need to navigate and grow forward. Communication, support, and sharing. So with that, let's go forward. Let's learn what more might be in our realm. Acknowledging the realities that this adaptation takes energy, balancing what happens and how we're blending our understanding of changes that's impacting us within means it's energy. It takes more. So, yes, recognizing how essential rest is going to need to be, where we may need to pause and sort of take a breather, that we may consciously, intentionally look at how do we want to revive ourselves, our teams, our areas of work. What do we want to intentionally reach out and do and say and offer and support that might help us fulfill what we all need to be for one another? How do we want to reestablish with that support our mission to remember, okay, we have our goals, we have our mission at hand. They reflect our values, fulfilling what is important and meaningful. These are the ways in which we keep grounded and keeping that concept of creating renewal through what we can design, maybe with friends and family, with our hobbies, with our interests. Creating creativity is a way to express nourishment and replenishment. So think of what that might be for you going forward.
Yeah.
Go
Oh, go
ahead.
ahead. Okay. Yeah, so here's a few quick tips on trying to maintain focus. And we're hearing that a lot, that it's, with everything going on, it's hard to focus, hard to get motivated. So just some quick tips that can help you maintain focus while working. One tip is if you have a major task to complete, try to align that task with your energy level whenever it's at its peak and when you perform the best. There's no exact time and it varies by individuals. So if you're more productive in the mornings or maybe in the afternoons, prepare yourself to allocate some time, set deadlines, which can add some positive stress to motivate you to get certain tasks done during that magic hour or magic morning for some of us that like to get things done in the morning. And breaking up big projects into smaller tasks can help you keep you from feeling overwhelmed. Hydrating is also a great way to stay focused. Our bodies and our brain are made up a lot of water, mostly of water, and dehydration can affect brain function, mood, and energy. Studies have shown that small fluid fluctuations can have detrimental effects on our ability to concentrate. So use a way to track your hydration throughout the day. And of course, movement. Movement helps to boost performance and focus by increasing blood flow, gets your energy up, and also increases our alertness. So a great way to just find a way to get outside, walk, move, and stretch. And then become a taskmaster. At the end of the day, write down 6 most important tasks for the next day and put them in order of importance. So now you can kind of close your day and rest your brain and body, as Cindy mentioned earlier. And when you start work the next day, you'll have that list, focus on the most important tasks first until you're finished, and then move on to the second task and so forth. And try to stick with this and move any leftover items that you weren't able to get to the following day. So it helps you keep things organized and also helps you to relax knowing that you've had it documented.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie. It's like create a routine that really galvanizes and embeds the strengths in you that come through every day. So, Julie,
Oh, go ahead. This is you.
building connections is our key. What we've learned before in many of these transitions and these times of uncertainty is building our connections and our relationships, keeping connected, following. We have support groups, we have webinars, we have other outside resources that we're turning to create a sense of community and connection. So that's really how we build that bridge through these uncertain times.
Yeah, and it's also important to take care of your body, and we'll go into some of that a little bit later around mindfulness, avoiding negative outlets, and finding purpose. So we'll cover that later, but just wanted to showcase some different ways that you can thrive through change with connection, really how you think, embracing healthy thoughts, which takes a lot of practice, and then of course fostering wellness, and we'll have more details shortly about that.
Yeah. Creating a way of finding an outlook that brings realistic optimism, finding a way of being able to see the total picture, the positive as well as the challenges. So, what might we do? Even when we're thinking about how do we communicate? What do we want to sort of build into our relationships? What does that take? It's really these elements that are so essential to fostering a sense of safety and comfort and reassurance. So we really need to understand that sometimes, yes, we may not know all the answers, but we may want to focus on what is your why? How come you are there? How do you want to show up every day and make it meaningful and important to you? We know that in community that empathy and compassion is so essential, and coming in the day, coming into your meetings, coming into your workspaces with empathy and compassion for everyone doing their best, showing up, arriving to do what we can do, because that positivity can help us recharge and boost our morale, as we may need some of that energy as we go through this together. Mm.
And as we mentioned earlier, self-care is so important. And that's why we're here to give you some tips, because being healthy helps you be well, helps you do your job, helps you care for others, and you can do all the things you need to do to accomplish in the day. Taking care of yourself means being able to take care of the needs of your loved ones, colleagues, and friends as well. Checking in with yourself to see what your body and mind is asking for is important. And self-care doesn't mean the same thing for everybody. So Cindy and I will be sharing a lot of different tips, and you can pick and choose what works for you during this time. But we do know that research has shown that when self-care is regularly practiced, the benefits are broad and linked to positive health, reduced stress, improved immune system, productivity, and self-esteem. All things that we really, really need to work on to get through these challenging times. So this is just a quick overview of a model that we use for our self-care, and just emphasizing that prevention is always the best technique to help cultivate and maintain health and well-being. So you'll see here some important things to consider building into your day, and that includes movement, nourishment, connection, resetting your mind and body, prevention, preventative exams, learning something new, practicing mindfulness, and of course, expressing gratitude. So now that you have a big picture of what the self-care model looks like, we're going to get into 20 tips that you can utilize. And these are tips that you probably have heard of. It might be a good reminder. It might inspire you to take some action, but also for a way for you to feel supported and cared for. We know these are challenging times happening here at USC, Los Angeles, and the world. From our current fiscal crisis to our recent wildfires, civil unrest, it's been quite a year for all of us, and we know that when our social, cultural, political landscape erupts, it can have a devastating impact on our body and mind. Feelings of shock, fear, anxiety, sadness, uncertainty can take a toll, and it's common to feel these feelings, and it's a part of healing and moving forward. So during moments like this, it's important to take small steps to take care of your mental health and well-being, and find ways to support each other, whether it's getting proper nutrition, rest, making sure that you're connected. It can help you with what you need to move forward. So starting here, we will I'll turn over to Sydney and we will
Hmm.
just give you a variety of tips that you can use and put in your toolkit.
Yes, I mean, we all understand that we're going to have our own individual personal responses and reactions that all are appropriate and normal and customary for these circumstances. And so, with that, it is about not only knowing you, becoming self-aware. How do you notice when things are impacting you? How are you thinking? How are you feeling? How it is impacting you? And on the other side, let's begin to customize. Know yourself well. Know what you might want to build in to your day-to-day way of life that would be responsive to what you need. So we would acknowledge, yes, we're going to have normal, natural fears and worries and concerns. And that's when it's so essential to communicate. That's when we turn toward one another and we just validate and we appreciate and we credit each other for doing the best we can during a challenging time.
Thank you, Cindy. And making space for feelings is so important. As you acknowledge that your feelings are valid, explore how you are feeling by either journaling or being with people that you trust and that you feel safe with. And balance time with others with time by yourself. No matter how much we try to manage our emotions during these times of trauma and difficulty, sometimes we can't manage it on our own, and it's okay to seek professional help to process your emotions.
Yeah. Remember, how we think often drives what we choose and how we implement our self-care. So consider how you include you in the most positive reflection, you in terms of how you have managed before, transitioned, utilize your strength, create a sense that yes, we might have realistic issues, and there are also really positive strengths that you bring to whatever it might mean, solving problems, making plans, making decisions. So engage in those that can have respectful dialogue, respect each other's feelings, emotions as they are coming through in our day-to-day world and our communication, knowing that building those themes of respect and compassion and understanding really helps us to get through a lot.
Yeah, and finding a sense of purpose and something you can control. So maybe getting involved in some way. It might be advocating for a change with like-minded individuals to contribute to a solution that gives you a sense of purpose,
Mhm.
especially at a time when you're feeling a bit lost. It might be joining groups, community organizations, different movements that you can pursue that you believe in. To get involved and do something that you feel that is making a difference is also really important.
Yeah, do what you love to do. One of the most amazing things is when we have our support groups and we have our discussions and we're asking, what is it that really brings you joy, brings you replenishment, doing the things that is really true for your replenishment, body, mind, and spirit. So keep those and do more of them even when you have a challenging time.
Yeah, practice positive thinking. It can be hard. It takes practice. So rather than thinking, I can't get through this, maybe something like with the right help and support, I can get through this. I will get through this. And
Mhm.
we know that with help and social support and coping skills, most people begin to feel better. It could take a few weeks. It takes time to recover. So be patient with yourself. Oops, went ahead too far.
So, body, mind, and spirit, whatever way in which it nourishes you, we like to delineate that self-care is one aspect, but nurture your soul, the things that really restore you, nature, music, creativity, positive readings, writing, stay connected with what that is for you and practice it. Bring it into your routine of living every day.
And healthy habits is so important. It might feel like this is not a good time. I'm not going to prioritize, but it is more so important now than ever to prioritize healthy habits. For example, starting with getting adequate sleep, It might be harder to fall asleep or get restful sleep, or we might find ourselves waking up frequently. So take a look at your sleep environment and what habits you're engaging in before bedtime. Find ways to relax, especially after a tough day at work and what's been happening. So it could be that you're engaging in reading, in meditation, in journaling, listening to soothing music, and ensuring your sleep environment is conducive. Are there appropriate um, sound machines to block out noise, earplugs, eye shade, comfortable bedding? Eating nutritiously is also important. Eating a regular, balanced diet helps to fuel our body and staying hydrated, as I mentioned earlier. Everyone has a different dietary needs and medical needs. So again, check in. But overall, we should consume whole, nutritious foods, lean proteins, fruits and vegetables, and whole grains. And look for on campus, if you are looking to choose nutritious, we have Eat Well meals and getting exercise too, just going for a walk, join our Walk USC. And we have so many movement opportunities with Yoga USC, Rec Sports. We have a nice resource page that highlights different things you can get out. And we're hearing from our walk leaders that not only are we encouraging movement, but we're building community by coming out, joining your fellow colleagues. It's a great place to just support each other, build camaraderie, vent, share resources. So make sure you fit in that movement throughout the day. And also any kind of active relaxation, whether it's stretching, deep breathing, meditation. And through our Healthy Campus, we've also put together Nearby Nature, which is highlighted on the sustainability map, where we highlight different areas you can visit to help you identify our native plants, but also with the audio tours that we have, it can help you relieve stress, appreciate nature, and promote well-being.
Thank you, Julie. I mean, remember the incredibly resourceful, talented, people that you are. We're a population of work that is very high achieving, very productive, always forward thinking. And remember that those are the gifts and sometimes the challenges. So sometimes if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have 5 things I need to do tomorrow, how will I get this done? Remember to come back to the moment. Breathe and take that moment, deal and know what you do in the moment is what is the most important thing. So staying present centered, staying focused on what is the most important thing now for me to do, and know how then that way can help gauge and manage those moments to keep you replenished.
And moving on, as we kind of figure out how do we schedule our day and prioritize and focus and organize ourselves, do consider taking breaks from screens. The latest news, social media, that can cause and start more anxiety than we need right now in our lives. So maybe finding just a few minutes that we can do that, limit ourselves, set some boundaries, and utilize and repurpose your time instead to check in with a colleague, talk to a friend, do some deep breathing, go for a walk. So just kind of think about how am I designing my day to support my well-being.
Yeah. Think about practicing the self-compassion. Show compassion for you and all that you are managing and dealing with in the moment. And that really can hope and foster and extend it to others as well. There's some wonderful practices on self-care compassion. So find them, drop them into an app, use them, take a moment away from the day-to-day and apply something that just allows you to nourish the best of you as you go through your day.
Yeah, navigating challenging times is difficult and you're not alone. We're all in this together. We acknowledge that. But we're here to help. So getting help is the best way to protect your long-term mental health. Taking time to rest, to talk to someone, and the Workwell Center is here for that. Whether you need someone to listen to, you need some tips, some resources and support, we're here for you. Now that we've thrown a bunch of tips and strategies and advice and guidance with all of you, we just wanted to take a few minutes to have you think about what can you do going forward? If it's just one thing you take out of today's session, things that can support you during change and transition, whether it's the tips that we shared, something you've come up on your own, we want to provide you with some time to reflect and commit to an action plan. So what you see here on this slide, and Suzanne will be dropping in the chat a goal setting sheet. You're welcome to use that if you're able to download it, or if it's easier, just take out a piece of paper, a notepad on your phone, open up a new Word document, whatever you want to do to just write and think about what is it that you want to do starting from today, and something that you can do to help you get through these difficult, challenging times. It could be anything well-being related. So identify commitment and fill out the handout. Coming up with a SMART goal. I think we all know SMART goals, but just a brief refresher, making sure that what we're committing to is specific. What exactly will you be doing? Is it measurable? So can you track what you set out to do? Is it action oriented? Do you know exactly what you'll be doing and what you need to do to reach that goal? Is it realistic? Think big, but make sure it's possible. And then timely. What is the time limit that you will set? So feel free to do that. And once you fill out your worksheet, whether it's right now or afterwards, find an accountability buddy. Maybe it's a colleague in your department, somewhere across campus, a friend, a family member, and share your plan and continue to stay in touch with each other. And that way you set some structure and have some motivation and accountability to move forward with something that will benefit you.
Yeah. Think about this in terms of like a promise to yourself. You're making a promise to you that you're valuing, elevating, and making a priority, taking care of yourself and your well being, because it is the core of doing everything else we need to do. So it's a promise and a commitment to you to value and support everything you need in your life.
Yeah, and ideally, we're looking at what you can do for yourself. If you want to take it a step further, if you are a manager, a leader, supervisor, maybe think about what you can do to support the well-being of your teams as well. What can you do to make your teams feel supported and cared for, and how do you create that positive environment? It might be a little challenging right now, but how do you support the current? And then how do you think about moving forward into the future as we rebuild and go forward? Okay, well, we have a few minutes for questions. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the chat or in the Q&A, and we will do our best to answer or acknowledge the comments. And I'll pause,
Yeah.
give you some time to do
Mm.
that. Cindy, if you have anything to say, or
Yeah.
Steve or Laura, feel free to chime in.
Yeah, share the commitment and promise you would like to make to you. Share with that with others as well.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. We're getting some comments about this being helpful and inspiring. Um, there's a comment in the chat, and I'll just be very general so we don't give away, for confidentiality reasons. Any thoughts from anyone on the panel around how to handle, with the recent layoffs, and when the topic comes up, this team starts crying because it was very recent, very impact, just devastating to this group. Any tips on how to handle that? I think it applies to all of us.
It really does. And I do think it goes back to, connecting on a human level. When we do the mental health first aid, we really want to acknowledge the validity of that emotion and just pause and listen. Maybe we have to step away and we come into a private setting and listen. We listen to what this is for that individual. It's very personal. It's very natural to express. It is understanding that we're going to feel a grieving process. So noticing that you can help them not only feel supported at that point, but then you can help bridge. There is support, there is a way through, there is a place where they can go and comfortably and safely talk about what's happening.
Thank you, Cindy. I'm not sure I understand this question, so I'll read it. Is transition to retirement irrelevant transition to use this material? Meaning, is this material relevant? I would say that this is general enough to talk about or to apply to any kinds of transitions and any kinds of challenging times and trauma. It's general enough, but unless I'm reading this comment wrong, I don't know if anyone else has anything else to say about this.
Yeah, I would say yes. And it kind of goes back to sometimes there are circumstances that prompt our own internal choices, decisions for change. And so, yeah, we can still need to have a lot of those elements still active going, because when we implement change, yes, we're going to be thinking about it. We're going to be making plans, decisions, choices. It's going to take more time and energy. So the self-care messaging is as important when you decide to make a change as much as you're going to be actually maybe receiving and adapting to a change. And they oftentimes, go hand in hand. So,
Yeah, and we talked earlier about the various feelings that we might be feeling during this time, the anxiety, sadness, depression, uncertainty, anger. That's one of the questions is, of course, there's feelings of anger. How can we manage this so that we're not rubbing people the wrong way when we're venting to other colleagues or personal contact? Any thoughts on that?
well, yeah, I mean, it's a natural and appropriate response to a real situation where something has happened out and beyond our control. And we've seen it in many layers, whether COVID or fires or now our layoff situations or even when civil unrest. We have to realize that anger is a messenger. It's telling us that something is impacting us. It's impacting our values, it's impacting our thoughts. It's going to be a way to process, a change. And sometimes we have to validate it and turn toward what can we do? Sometimes you take it from the standpoint of, yes, this is valid. And what do you feel you need to do? Steve, do you have thoughts on this? Love to hear from you too.
Yeah.
Thanks. So first, I would applaud whoever raised that for being so self-aware that your anger, while it may be justified and feel appropriate to the situation, may not land well on others or be relevant to them. And so I'll share some guidance I received from actually a coach at Workwell many years ago, which was a concept of doorknob mindfulness. And that coach told me to try to remember when I leave one situation that the people I'm about to go see as I reach for that door, they're not aware of whatever just happened. And I try not to bring it with me. So I think part of your question revolved around how to express your frustration, your sadness, your anger appropriately to a situation. Sometimes that means acknowledging I'm really upset right now. I feel angry about what's happened, but I recognize that you are not the recipient of that anger. And sometimes it actually means doorknob mindfulness and doing a little pause moment and not bringing that anger to a place it doesn't belong. So again, I think, people are raising really tough issues here. And just to go back to an earlier question briefly, where somebody raised the construct of how to process sadness when many parts of the university have had to contract. So there might be 50 people, but only 30 jobs moving forward. That will impact the people who move into those jobs with a sort of survivor's guilt, feeling like I'm so lucky and grateful to have had this opportunity to keep my job. And yet I feel sad for the people who didn't. And the only thing I can think of there, because this one is really tough, is to recognize that the 20 people who maybe didn't move into a job at USC, those are good, competent, resilient people. And they will find another job and another path to happiness. And at the end of the day, they'll be okay. Because while we think, USC is a great place to be, it's not the only place to be. And I hope that that brings some solace to know that just because things are changing here doesn't mean that has to be bad for you.
Thank you so
I'd like
much.
to also follow up on that earlier comment and say thank you for bringing forward a comment that I think applies to many across our university. How are we grappling with these things that are so out of scope and of our own locus of control? And just following up to offer consultative, confidential conversations with anyone who is facing I guess, reorganization where there are 50 people and 37 jobs, to touch base with us, brief meetings to set you up with some tools to assess how you want to proceed. And that we can do outreach. Please call us. Please use our contact us page on our website. We're happy to support you on an individual basis to talk through what you'd like your plan to be. We can also come and help a whole group. We can be there with the whole group if it's appropriate to process as a whole group, recognizing that everybody has a different way that they experience emotions and move through that curve, that change curve that we saw. So those are a couple of things that I was thinking about when I saw that comment, and that we are here for you, and thank you so much for putting that early on in the webinar. Thanks.
We have two more questions. One is around what are some best words that can be delivered to colleagues who get laid off? What are
Yeah.
some things you can say? I think that's coming up a lot. And I know Cindy and I are working on a presentation for that shortly. So
Yeah.
as a teaser, Cindy.
Well, let's put our hearts and minds together on this one. I think it is about acknowledging the reality of a change and that you care about them. You're concerned, you want to be there. Sometimes we ask, how can I be there for you in the best way? It is acknowledging just what Steve said, that people are very capable, competent, they've been productive, they've done an incredible amount of work. They still deserve the credit for that. It may be just simply saying, I'm here if you need anything, let me know. And then go with what you would, if you send a card, an acknowledgement. Some people are thinking about waiting a little while, and then they are coming back together with their coworkers and going out for lunch again, and having some time where they can just reflect on the great work relationships they've had. So it may be not necessarily just one thing or one time when we say something. It may be a process of things that go on for a while as we keep those good friendships and relationships going.
Yeah. Steve, did
Steve?
you want to chime in?
I think these can be awkward moments, and sometimes it's just helpful to address it. I think it's okay to say, look, I really feel bad, but also I believe in you. And if you need anything, to be really specific, a peer reference, a letter, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm here to do that for you in case it's hard for you to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would chime in and just say, offering support, but also kind of let them take the lead. If they want to talk about it, some people I feel want to talk about it, want the support, want contacts, connections, and some just need time to process. And and asking them too many questions might cause some overwhelm and stress. So kind of, maybe listen more and kind of follow their lead. That's my 2 cents. Okay, and then there was a question in the chat which has been answered in case people don't see that, but since this applies to a lot of us here, in terms of a process to support staff whose roles are eliminated to find similar positions in departments that may have open roles. Since every school and unit has a process, the best way is to connect with your HR partner or supervisor with those kinds of questions about other additional roles.
Yeah, I would say really, if you're a supervisor, leader, manager, you know, round often, offer time, ask if there's any questions, create time and space for checking in and reminding the strength and the skills and the abilities that people can bring forward. So just checking in with one another, and that way you can resource and guide to different referrals that can be made.
Great. Thank you so much for those questions and everyone for answering and chiming in. We will take the last few minutes just to remind you of some upcoming events, services, things that we really want to encourage you to take advantage of. We're here for you. So, Cindy?
Yeah, remember you have the confidential counseling. It is always available. Email, let us know. If there's time you need, please do not hesitate. We will be there. The consultation, as Laura said, is really good. Sometimes it's just a pause, think out loud, brainstorm ideas, have a plan. We do our executive coaching for directors and above. And as you see today, we do talks and groups that are ongoing and customized for what you feel your team might want and need. Our team, we're there. We want to be responsive to you. And we're all available. We can do in Zoom, we can do in person. Um, we're our resources for you. We all have various expertise, and we've learned very well all the specific mental health plans in the health insurance plan that you have. So whether you have Kaiser or you have the EPO plan, we understand Lyra. We also have TELUS. So we want you to see us as a hub of resources that we can share with you.
And I just want to, before moving forward, acknowledge another great comment in the chat. Um, just tips on how to support a colleague who has been laid off is just reaching out on LinkedIn to share your contacts is a nice proactive gesture, or
Yeah.
even writing a recommendation for that person, sharing your network. I do want to briefly mention the USC Healthy Campus, which is a cross-campus collaboration of faculty and staff coming together to improve health and well-being at USC, focus on both individual well-being as well as influencing changes to practices, policies, and systems. So we are working through our subcommittees on different projects, programs, resources, recommendations to create a health promoting university, but also looking at how can we pivot, shift, enhance, promote our current projects as well as future ones to support our campus community. So if you do have an interest, a passion, want to get involved, want to connect with others, feel free to reach out to me, and we would love to have you join to be part of this movement and doing something to support our campus community. Cindy, do you want to give an overview of our entire Navigating Challenging Times program?
Well, yeah, we're really excited to offer a monthly series that will focus on the topics. For September, we are looking forward to having another in-depth overview of all the mental health benefits from our key providers. So as you may be venturing into October and open enrollment, you're going to learn more specifically what can happen and what choices you may be wanting to make. We're going to also be looking at uh, the different individual counseling services that we can continue to offer, the leadership consultations. We're going to finish our dialogue groups and continue them up every Tuesday at noon. We are all open for anyone who would like to drop in and just share openly, honestly, in a confidential setting, the kinds of things that we're feeling and thinking and the impact of it. We do offer critical incident support. If there's anyone at any point in time that you are worried about, that you're concerned, whether you're manager, supervisor, or coworker, please let us know, and then we can do some outreach and we can ensure that they get to proper care right away. I'm sorry, go ahead,
Thank
Julie.
you, Cindy. And just an overview of the upcoming sessions. And I will just, like I'm seeing some comments here. Yeah, staff and faculty will have access to this recording. So it will be posted on the same link where you signed up, and I believe it's in the chat. So you can share it with really anyone to access the recording. And we are also going to share the PDF of these slides, and feel free to share that with existing employees or even employees that have been laid off, as the question asks. Okay, just a few more resources to share. We know right now it's so important to prioritize our health and well-being. And one good way to move and build social connection community is through Walk USC. We have over 40 walk leaders, and they are here to support you. We just met yesterday, and our leaders are sharing how great it's been to connect with individuals that have come out. We have walks through UPC, HSC, Alhambra, and ATRI, as well as remote walks. And we are going to be planning some special walks coming up in September and beyond. So register, meet the rest of us, and we love to see you out there. In addition, prioritizing our nutrition, as you heard earlier, is so important. We have so many resources to help you do so. Our Eat Well Bites is launching next month, starting the first Thursday of every month. So September 4th, we have healthy eating and grocery shopping on a budget. So very timely topic, and we hope to see you there. In addition, we have our Eat Well Meals on campus, which is a partnership with hospitality to highlight nutrient-rich, flavorful, and balanced meals. Our cookbook should be launching very shortly. And currently on our website, we have our healthy cooking videos, recipes, and various guides to support you with eating healthy on campus, at home, across the street at the village for those of us at UPC. And then a few more resources to highlight for those of you that are looking for ways to move. We've worked with Rec Sports, Physical Therapy, and PE Mind Body Health to develop a series of animated posters to encourage movement throughout the day. So if you need a break to stretch or just to get up and move, we have easy to follow exercises you can do for upper, lower body, core, and using a foam roller. And then just to end with two resources that are really important, we have our resource directory, and this shows you all of the health and well-being resources available to faculty and staff, organized by our 8 dimensions of well-being, and essentially is an inventory of our partnerships and collaborations throughout USC. And the guide is updated annually. And also, if you're looking for ways to create a healthy, health promoting work environment, there's tips from managers. We have our work wall guide with different strategies to help you integrate health and well-being into your workplace. So as you consider ways to support employees, you might want to reference this guide and see what can you do to create that culture where our colleagues can, move forward. And with that, you can join our mailing list to get the latest and greatest of all of our resources and events. We have Slack, and you can also contact us or go to our website to reach out to any of us for any of our services. And then we will end with letting you know that we have a short evaluation form that we would love for you to fill out to give us feedback. Your thoughts and comments are really important to us, so you're welcome to scan the QR code. We'll also send the link out in the post-webinar communication that will include the slides and the recording. And for those of you who are earning vitality points, we'll be submitting your information so you don't have to do anything. So you get 50 points for attending today, and then 35 points for watching the recording. And with that, I'll just pause and see if anyone else has anything else they want to say. Cindy, Laura, Steve, before we wrap up.
Just honor and take good care of you. And, back in the day in other trainings, we said, sometimes things happen. And in the spirit of Bill and Ted's adventures, he said, be excellent to each other. And this is what you're all about. You all seek to achieve excellence. So be excellent to each other and take good care.
Anyone else?
Thank you all for coming today.
Great. Well, thank you everyone for being here, and we will see you hopefully next month, if not sooner. Take care of yourselves.
Bye. Take care.